Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How's everybody doing tonight? So, almost everybody in the entire universe I know has some kind of weird cold right now. Kind of a lingering sinusy thing. And these are people who did and did not get the pokety poke. So, although the ones that got the pokety, I don't know a lot of them that got all of them, but the few that I've known, they did have it for a lot longer, like a month, and they were a lot sicker. So I don't know, like I said, it could be just a coincidence, but everybody, I actually managed to, knock on wood, not get an upper respiratory, but I did have a stomach bug when I was gone over the last trip. So I don't know. Everybody's gotten something. But yeah, I've been pretty healthy this week anyway. A little spacey though, I would say, but no actual symptoms of illness. And I've been a little tired on certain days at certain times. So hopefully everybody, but all the non-poke people that I know, it's not a real bad illness. It's dragging for them. So hopefully most people are going to get through it okay. It just seems sort of weird that it hit everybody. So, okay, so I think you've already been talking about the Speaker of the House was yammering on and on about this Washington Crossing the Delaware painting was just supposed to be some kind of famous painting in America. I swear I've never seen this effing thing. I remember another painting that was really different. And I can't remember if they were crossing the Delaware or the Potomac, frankly. I kind of have in my mind that it was the Potomac, but there is no painting of crossing the Potomac that I could find. I looked and looked. I can't find anything that looks like what I remember. And I've never seen this thing before. It is let me just open it here so you can see it. This is a corny thing. So yeah, I've said before when something why was the Speaker of House yammering on about some old painting, describing every little stinking boring detail of it, and it's a giant Mandela. I have never seen this painting and it is corny, and it so I remember a painting of a boat and a crossing and a dude, indeed, Washington, with his foot out, but they weren't wearing these garish clothes. They had kind of a military outfit, but it wasn't all corny like this. They used to show there was a more of a simple outfit that we had. This looks like something from Europe or something. They didn't have cloaks. And everybody had the uniform on, and it was not, all the colors were browns. It was at night. I believe that they were already near the shore and starting to get the boat attached to the shore. They were just starting to clamber out. And what I remember is white water out here, not ice. And it was one of those grab onto that boat or it's going down the river without you kind of a deal. There were no females. Supposedly, this is clearly a female now. There was no bright colors. There were no fur hats. Everybody had the uniform. There was no giant, ridiculous flag. This guy, I swear to God, this guy looks like he came from Doctor Who. This guy with the blue and the weird hat. This guy looks like some painter from some posh college. And we've got a couple fur trapper dudes here. That's all not right. Okay, then you look in the background here. We've got stinky little boats with horses on. One of these at least one of these horses is rearing up. There's no way this stinky little boat is going to take 2-3 horses, one of them stomping around over a river. That's ridiculous. There were no other boats in my original one. There weren't this many people. There were no females. There was no black dude. Apparently, this is a black dude. I swear this guy looks like a bad guy from Doctor Who, like some kind of evil administrator type. I'd never seen this painting before, ever. ever. And the painting I do remember, it's gone. And the painting I do remember did not have ice. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And then the Speaker of the House gets on there and yammers on and on and on about this hokey, corny painting. This is ridiculous looking thing. And somehow it's just an epitome of the timeline. But I don't know, have you ever seen this thing? I mean, just found out about it this week. That thing. Yellow pants. Yeah, I don't know. There was all these bright reds. I mean, it's obviously ridiculous. Who's going to carry a flag the size of a house over? I mean, and then they would have it, what? They're having it up. It would be laying flat in the boat. I mean, come on. This guy looks more like Napoleon Bonaparte than Washington. And they're going to put a chick doing the rowing? I mean, really? So, I mean, no offense. As a female, I think females are awesome possum, okay? But I am not the best selection for rowing, okay? This guy's lazing around and she's doing all the rowing. That's stupid. Why is she even there? And she looks like she's in some kind of school marm dress. I don't know. This guy looks like he can barely hold. Who holds I guess he's just trying to keep it off the ice, but I mean, really. He looks like he's painting the ice. It's just a ridiculous painting. It's ridiculous. This guy's going to fall off. If it hits one thing of ice, he's going to flop right off the edge. It's insane. This is a ridiculous painting. Oh, you were asking about the painting. Oldest child said no memory. Another child said remembers the new version only. Hubby remembers old version but thinks it still exists. He denies the ME. I have looked for the old painting that I remember. And and that ice is weird ice. Like, that's not what ice looks like. It looks fake. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to somewhere where that's what ice looks like. But that is not right for ice. Should be white or something. I don't know what that is. Yeah, there's so many issues there. No ice and it was night. Yes. Even Shari knows. I mean, she's not even from the United States, right? I assume, since you're all over the other countries. I've never actually asked you where you came from, but you know. Who threw a nickel? Is that a joke? I don't know. That's actually another thing, though. I don't remember the river looking nearly that big. At least the painting made it look kind of like rapids, like a tight rapids area. But it did look like you could say, like, heave a football across it. And it was just like really fast moving. And in my mind, it just wasn't that big a river. It was just a treacherous river. I have no idea, I never actually went and said, well, how big is the river really? I just remembered that painting made it look like it wasn't that big. Oh, there's another issue. Okay, there's multiple other issues. So the painting looks different. Check one. The storyline. Let me see. Where can I find this? The men in the boat represent a cross-section of American colonies. Nope, they were just military dudes. So again, we see kind of the current stuff going backwards in time. We've got the whole, more nationalities. We've got the woman in there. Pretty interesting considering this is supposed to be a pretty old painting, and that, I don't know, the current stuff's gone backward in time again. Including one in Scottish bonnet and another of African descent. A Western rifleman is at the bow. 2 farmers. No, these were all just soldiers in there. They weren't. 2 farmers in broad-rimmed hats are near the back. One with a bandaged head. One at at the stern wearing what appears to be Native American clothing. It's a whole different painting. The only thing I can say is Washington's on there standing up, and there's a boat. That is all, and there's a river. That's all that it has in common with the old painting. The old one is just not it. Okay, inaccuracies. There was, okay, so I'm trying to find that thing I saw earlier. Washington's stance, obviously intended to depict him in a heroic fashion, would have been very hard to maintain in choppy conditions of the crossing. Such a stance would have risked capsizing the boat. Yeah, plus like 3 rearing horses in the background, that wouldn't have capsized the boat. So apparently it was on the New Jersey State Quarter. So if you're looking at a tiny quarter, I think the old painting could have been on there and like morphed into this one without too many people noticing, because you can't really see that much on a little bitty quarter. You see there's a boat, some dudes on it, and that's all you're really going to see. So anyway, the current version is on the New Jersey quarter for you guys from New Jersey. Another factor with this one is apparently there's, not only did this painting show up, but there's 3 versions of it. One version was painted and then lost in a bombing, and then the author painted 2 more versions of it. Weirdly, here in the wiki, this I believe is the original version, and the one I used for the thumbnail is one of the other versions, but I actually am not clear on what the second existing version looks like. Like, what are the differences? I looked at a number of places trying to get, can I just get 2 images, one of each of the photo of the paintings, and I couldn't. Another thing about this painting, apparently it's massive. Like I saw people standing in front of it. It was like 6 foot tall or something. I mean, it's not just your normal little stinky thing on the wall, which I thought was interesting, because I don't really recall any famous paintings being humongous other than ones that were like painted on walls. So I was a little shocked at that as well. Okay, original was destroyed in a bombing raid in 1942 during World War II, and it was in Germany. I'm like, why is it in Germany? Okay, it's our American painting, but it was in Germany. Then the author Lutz painted 2 more versions. One is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in NYC. The other was in the White House and then was sold to a museum. So again, like this was kind of weird too, because I look it up and it says the 1851 painting, Washington Crossing the Delaware, 1851 painting, versus the actual event of Washington physically doing the job. And so I click on 1851 painting, and then it's changed to, see, it says redirected from Washington 1851 painting. And now it's paintings. So these paintings have been around for decades. It's since 1851. Why did they ever even have a listing that didn't have an S for painting? I mean, they've known this whole time there was 3 of them. And I think that they would have known that before Wiki was invented. Why was there ever one with an in? Yet, if you go to Washington Crossing the Delaware, the event, the actual link does not have the S on paintings. So, I mean, not only did this thing show up and replace apparently the other one that can't be found and nobody's found it, but there's 3 of them, 2 in existence and 1 bombed in Germany. And I don't remember any history like that at all. There was another weird thing in here that was getting me. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Dang it, where is it? Basically, what was getting me, and I can't find it now. But they're basically saying that the story was that Washington was on his way, or was he just finished fighting the Hessians? I'm like, what the hell, the Hessians? So apparently, Britain had a bunch of like German soldiers over here, and we had to fight them, and they were called the Hessians. Let me see if I can find it with a search. And I don't remember any of that story. I thought we just fought. There it is. The paintings commemorate General Washington's crossing of the Delaware River with the Continental Army on the night of 1776 during the American Revolutionary War. The action was the first move in a surprise attack and victory against Hessian forces at the Battle of Trenton in New Jersey. And then you click on Hessian forces. Hessians were German soldiers who served as auxiliaries to the British Army during the American Revolutionary War. The term is an American synecdoche. I'm not even sure what that word means. For all Germans who fought on the British side, since 65% came from the German states of Hesse-Kassel and Hesse-Hanau. All right, so apparently we had to fight these German forces called Hessians. Now, I've heard that term, but it's a fairly recent term, and I have not heard that term as one that we fought them on our own soil in Delaware or any such. So that was another thing that was like, well, what? So there's 3 paintings, even though apparently only Wiki recently figured out there was 3 paintings, even since they've been here since 1850. And we fought Hessians, and I've never seen this painting before, and they just happen to be yammering on and on and on about it in some political baloney speech. I hate all the political speeches, so it really doesn't matter who happened to be the perpetrator of the day. I don't know. The whole thing is just strange. Let's see. I think that was it. Then we have our friend who discovered this on Retcon. So I just wanted to give credit to user Agent Orange 55 on Retcon, Reddit Retcon, for bringing it to the fore. I don't think anybody else has covered this on the show yet, or any show as far as I know. So one thing that was found on the Reddit thread was somebody was digging for the old one, and they did find this ironic kind of Trump jokey one. And this one is a little closer to what we remember. Now, there was no White House in the background, but it's night. I don't see any stupid ice. Everybody's got brown on. I do think that there was one of these. This rings a bell with the holding of the light up here. Everybody's got brown on. Now, I remember people still, like I said, having military, like simple military uniforms. God, I wonder if those military uniforms even exist now. They had like white with some kind of bluish or darkish stripes kind of thing. Yeah, it was kind of a simple thing, not this ridiculous European posh business. But this looks more like we remember. And you can see that people are just kind of, I don't know, it's more realistic. Let's see, how many people are in it? Well, it's the same number, but somehow it just seems, it's not exactly right, but it is more right. And it's pretty sad when a corny Trump caricature with the corny White House in the background is less pompous than the actual thing. It's like, I don't know, feel it perennially trolled by the timeline. Let's see, who came out? I don't think I have the retcon thing, but all right. So yeah, that's it. That's end rant about that. What the hell is the horse doing? Yeah, I know the horse. There's a horse standing there. It looks like there's somebody on the horse, which is ridiculous. This horse is rearing up, and looks like there's a third horse over here having a cow but not rearing up. There is no effing way that you're going to have three horses. Well, how much is horses? They're like 1,000 pounds. You got 3,000 pounds of horse standing up on a little boat and 4 more people, and you're like going across the river. That's insane. That's ridiculousness. I don't remember any boats beyond just people on a boat anyways. I think normally, gosh, how would you get the horses across? You'd have to find a place where they could swim themselves across. I don't think you could get them across on these little boats like this. Horses are good, decent swimmers. They would swim across. But I don't remember any horses in the original, so it's kind of a moot point. I mean, it's not like the photo was, or the painting was meant to be like perfectly accurate. Who really knows how they did all that, but... Shari, how do you know so much about wartime? Shari knows stuff about everything. It's very helpful to have somebody on here. The pose I remember and the uniforms. Let's see what we got here. Okay. That is not at all like what I remember, but that's interesting. Lake Erie battle. Yep, nope. Not at all for me. Again, other than the fact there's a river, a boat, and like people. I do remember him having his foot up, but I remember the foot coming, it just looked more reasonable. It wasn't all pompous. Like you would have your foot up because you're, trying, bracing yourself, planning to come out of the boat. I remember there was some kind of, like, it looked like they were just hitting the shore and people were ready to jump on to the shore and like dock tie the boat or whatever. It was that kind of a look. So I'm trying to remember if they had their foot out and up because they were lifting it over the edge of the boat or if it was just propped on something, but it definitely wasn't that corny. So, I don't know, maybe there's 15 versions of this painting in every timeline, and who the heck knows. Washington didn't dare cross the river in daylight. Who in their right mind would do that in wartime? Yeah, but again, it could well be that the painting isn't obvious. This painting is ridiculous. It's not accurate at all. 3 horses on a little boat. The boat's not going to carry those over. And the minute that horse started jumping around, it was going to go blip. So clearly in this timeline, there was very little effort to make it realistic. Kwanzaa, I remember since the 90s. That's when I first heard of Kwanzaa, yeah. The Hessians were on the U.S. side in my past. I just don't remember Hessians being involved at all, frankly. I certainly do not remember any big battles where we fought them. That just seems really weird. Eva, I know it's political propaganda. Anybody who's a politician and opens their mouth is spewing political propaganda. But I think it's highly weird that just happens to be a giant Mandela painting, and then they trot this out and yammer on and on and on and on, and this represents this and this. I have never even heard such a speech that just yammers on about some old painting. It's like the old French paintings. It's like some poshy, corny Napoleon painting or something. Shari was a big bookworm. Well, at least it's helped out for the Mandelas. Yeah, it was always that we did guerrilla warfare. That was always the thing. And the painting reflected it a lot more, at least for me. Looks like AI generated. You know, when AI does it, though, there's usually little mistakes worse than a horse on a boat. So I would not say I see AI generate. At least the current AIs. You know, who knows down the line. Next, the guy in front will have horns. Yeah, like the guy in the Capitol riots. That would be funny. I don't, you know, the more I think about that, that guy with the horns, that's really weird. I mean, like, I mean, he's going to be showing up everywhere. Yeah, David Kent also thinks the parody version is closer. Still a ways off, but just the whole flavor of it is a lot more reasonable, subdued. The color tones, it's nighttime. The river looks a little closer. The Simpsons predicted that too, guy with the horn. Really? The Simpsons. Oh my gosh. All right, so that's the ridiculous painting that I've never seen before in my life, and most others have. I haven't really. Have I talked to anybody who's seen that painting more than recently? I don't know if I have. See, look at that woman in there. You know, in my old timeline, I mean, I don't want to be mean, but you just didn't see women rowing boats and stuff. I mean, that is a very more modern thing. Like, I wouldn't be shocked to see the black dude in there, but I mean, this guy looks more like a painter with that floppy hat. I don't know. The whole thing is just bugging me. I guess nobody knows that there's two paintings, and I'm not referring to the second one being Trump. Okay, so this is another weird one that, who found this one? This one was found by John Bernard Shaw, commenter on the channel. I wanted to say George Bernard Shaw. No, John Bernard Shaw. Good find. So this is just kind of weird. So apparently, only just now has it broke that Michael Jackson's Thriller originally had whole different lyrics. And instead of Thriller, Thriller Night, it was Starlight. It was Starlight. The original Thriller was actually Starlight. And it's a little weird because it was, we need some starlight, starlight sun. We need some starlight, starlight sun. And all the lyrics were different, and it wasn't like supposed to be spooky. But now this is more spooky than the spooky one because we need starlight sun. Like, does that refer to the white sun? I'm looking at these lyrics. So if you look at this, all of the stuff that shows this, like this one went up in September 2022. And this is one thing that John Bernard Shaw was putting out, is that there's like, at least currently, there doesn't appear to be any chatter until the last few months on this. Like, and then it was like leaked. But then it's up on YouTube, and it hasn't gotten a DCMA attack on it. It's still up here. And I can't play this because I don't know if I can get away with it. But basically, if you go here and look this up, Michael Jackson, Starlight, the whole song is up there. And it's by people who don't have rights to it, but somehow it's not getting taken down. So, you know, see, there's, hopefully the state don't delete this, ha ha. So if they had this, they're just sitting on it and never going to release it for like decades. I mean, if you had an estate, wouldn't you be percolating out old Michael Jackson stuff and earning income from it on a regular? You wouldn't just sit on it. There's people who'd pay for this, and probably the longer you wait, the less people would pay. So it's stupid to just sit on this. Wouldn't you just be like earning money from it? Starlight is the demo version of one of Michael Jackson's most notable songs, Thriller. You can play it here also. There's always people trying to pull you down. Now is the time for us to spend this evening close together. Deep in the night, we're holding on to someone else's dream. Girl, can't you see we need some starlight, starlight, sun. There ain't no second chance. We gotta make it while we can. You'll need the starlight, some starlight, sun. They're out to get you. There ain't no issue. You're acting like a fool. Love can possess you and make you see that heart is going to move high in the night. The magic's going to keep us close together. We'll start to fly because this is the beginning of your life. Baby, tonight, give me some starlight. With this, the only chance, we've got to make it while we can. Starlight, 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 light up the world. Let the love start take charge of this. Let the love start to... Whose lyrics is this? This is weird. And he did sing this whole thing. It's kind of weird. Masquerade, take your delivery and show me that this is no lie. Give me your starlight. Kind of weird lyrics. It doesn't really make exactly sense. There's indication that someone else is standing on the ground across the nation. There's always people trying to pull you down. For us to spend this evening close together, deep in the night. Going along. There ain't no second chance. We got to make it while we can. Give me that sun. Oh yeah, oh babe. Give me that sun. We can't be together. Starlight, sun, blah, blah, blah. Starlight, 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 starlight. I don't know. It's just kind of weird that this thing showed up suddenly out of nowhere, and it's talking about the white sun. I saw Making of Thrill on MTV, and nobody said anything about change lyrics. It was in the 80s. Yep. You know, like I said, I'm not super proud of it, but I really loved that back in the day, all of the Michael Jackson songs. It was kind of a different era, so I don't think I really, like, people didn't idolize quite as strongly as they do now, and I don't think I really idolized Michael Jackson, but I totally loved his songs and his videos, like, totally. And I watched them. And I loved them, and I knew all of them, and I knew all the basic lore of them, and this was not in there. There is no effing way. Reminds me of that Eminem's Forgotten Scratch song. Yes, I know, all this stuff is coming out of nowhere. I remember the 70s show had a scene where they imitated Da Vinci Last Supper. I wonder if their poses changed when the painting did, or if there's a slight mismatch. That's interesting. We have to try to dig that up. I'm going to put a little note. It was a 70s show. 70s show. See if I can find that. It shouldn't be that hard to find. 70s show Last Supper poses. If they even did it in this timeline. There's that too. What did The Simpsons not predict? So, you know, again, with The Simpsons, I wonder how much of that went backward in time. Like, stuff happens, and then we go back and we see that it's in The Simpsons. It's not quite accurate enough for us to watch it on The Simpsons and know it's going to happen. So I still do wonder if it was always in there. Yeah, very strange. The estate wouldn't have released it soon after his death. Yeah, I know. They should have been percolating the stuff out. And now it's leaked and they're not even complaining, and none of that makes any sense. So, when he died, there was just so much thirst and hunger for everything Michael Jackson. It would have been ridiculous not to start releasing whatever you had at that time and maximize profits. You wouldn't wait decades and decades and then it leaks out and you don't do anything about it. All right, let me see what Shari's got on here. Okay, remove the studio part. Oops, you found it. Okay, wait. Stop. It looks pretty close. I think I think that matches current timeline pretty good. All right, so let's just pull up the Last Supper and take a quick peek here. I think the ones on Jesus's right are pretty close. I'm trying to see, or the ones on his left are close, so I'm trying to see on his right. All right, interesting. All right, let's go for this one. All right, so all right, that's not too bad. And one is over there. This guy's looking. He's got all right, the center of Jesus. Okay, let's look at this side now. Yeah, see, that one doesn't really match because he should be like grabbing her shoulder. And he's not, unless he's playing the money changer. Is he playing the money changer? Okay, I think he's playing the money changer. So he's got his paws out to the side. All right, and she's sitting there. Okay, so yeah, it matches the current stuff. She could tip her head a little more to the side, but overall, it's pretty close. And that is probably even closer. Yep. Now he's playing that guy. Except for her head is not right. But yeah, it looks like it matches the current timeline. I wouldn't be surprised if this changed along. But yeah, that was a good place to look for residue. So for me, that whole thing was different anyway. It was so different, the original painting. But that was many years ago. It was almost as different as this Delaware painting has changed. Retrocausality is getting out of hand. I don't know. I like the new Monkey song, Only Sleeping, my favorite now by them. No one has heard with a video showing Mikey playing with the fake synthesizer. So is it officially just rediscovered, or is it new for you but always been there? Kind of curious. I remember going out to dance with girlfriends and floors were instantly packed for Michael Jackson. And of course I own the Thriller album. You simply had to back then. Yeah, and there was not so much rumor about bad stuff about Michael Jackson. Who knows if it even existed in that timeline. You knew he was kind of weird, but who cares? His songs were good. All right. That was back then, simpler times. All right, so there's Starlight, Michael Jackson. Give me that Starlight Sun. All right, this one comes from Taro, the nickname I use for our listener in Japan, who comes up with some helpful stuff. So Taro was saying that look at the eastern side of Beijing. Okay, so let me just pop this open. All right, so actually let me just drag it over. So there we got, that's not what I want. We've got China, and I've said before, China looks like these days, looks like a chicken, and sitting chicken, but if you wanted them standing, then you could use Myanmar and Vietnam for the legs. But lately, I agree that it looks like Mr. Chicken is getting his throat torn out at Beijing. And so Taro was saying, look to the east on Beijing. I do agree there's something going on there. You could see it here. So we're getting, again, this pattern that I'm seeing where the waterways are coming inland, and you're getting like these protected large waterways. And so we saw this around Norway, Sweden, those kind of places in Europe, and we're seeing it here in Beijing. We're getting protected waterways coming in at the throat of the chicken. There's the head. So I don't remember the throat being like torn like that. So I do agree with Taro that something's going on. Down here too, right above Hainan. Hainan's getting huge. I don't remember Hainan existing. If it was there, it's tiny. I mean, look, it's bigger than effing Taiwan now. Crazy. Hainan is huge. I mean, even the Philippines is not that big compared to this thing that just showed up. But this little dibble dabble, what's going on with this little dibble dabble here? Let's see if I can make it larger so you can see. I don't remember that little dibble dabble thingy. So yeah, again, strangeness in China. All right. Oh, this was more people talking about the weirdness of the Delaware crossing. Oh yeah, back to I actually did it early, but when I left and came back, it defaults again. Burma, Thailand, Vietnam are gigantic. Yeah, Europe's tiny. Saudi Arabia is huge. Okay. Got that one. So that was from Taro. Thank you. Thank you, Taro. All right, this one is just kind of one of those biology, weird animal things. Hydra. I keep hearing about this hydra thing. I think I have covered some of this before. This little creature called Hydra vulgaris. Some people saw weird structures in the arm-pokenated blood. They were wondering if it could be some kind of hydra. So apparently these things are common. I don't remember these being a common freshwater thing in my old timeline. They're easy to grow. They're not picky about water quality. They're freshwater, but they also have some other very interesting characteristics that I don't remember any creature having in my old timeline. So when I was a kid, the big weirdo creature was the planaria. It's a flatworm. And it had the ability that if you cut it, you could even cut it into like couple pieces, and it would sort of like close off, and just those pieces would grow into like three, like say you cut it into three pieces, you could get three small planarias out of it. Like they would they would heal the cut and then just make 3. And that was the big hairy deal about planaria. They were so special, woo, that they could do this. Okay, so now it's no big whoop at all because hydra vulgaris could do it, and freshwater hydroid up to 30 millimeters. Wow, that's actually big. 10 millimeters to 30 millimeters. So 30 millimeters. You can see that okay, so 30 millimeters. That's like, it's like this long. Okay, so the planarias, they were tiny. I mean, you could barely see them, and I would look at them under the microscope. Okay, but these things are up to 30 millimeters. So like a little over an inch. Ooh. You know, I didn't quite catch that. I'm just reading it now. So these aren't, you could see them. You don't have to put them under the microscope. Like the planaria, you could barely see them. The hydra have 4 to 12 tentacles that protrude from just outside the mouth. They feed by extending their tentacles and waiting for food to touch the tentacles. Then they bring the food to their mouth. Like other hydra, hydra vulgaris cling to a base object with a foot pad shaped like a disc. The hydra move by releasing its grip on its base and getting carried away by the current. They can also move by bending over, grabbing a surface with its tentacles, releasing its grip with its foot, and flipping over itself. This is a weird little thing. I mean, it really looks like some kind of joke animal that a kid drew. It's got, you know, tentacles, a foot, a knobby part. It moves all weird. So it says, oh, it has the simplest nervous system of any known organism. But yet, now we're going to get to some weird stuff. This thing can reproduce 3 different ways. I do not remember anything that could ever reproduce 3 different ways. It can do ordinary sexual reproduction, but it's not ordinary sexual reproduction. It can grow, so basically it can grow testes, ovaries, or both will develop on the bodies of an individual, or both. So it could be a male, a female, or a half hermaphrodite. Who knows? Roll the dice. Okay? Sperm released into the environment by the testes enters the egg within the ovary. I guess you can then, it could just do its own self because it could create both. The egg forms a chitinous exoskeleton and waits for favorable conditions before the organism will emerge. So they have a free-floating sperm that fertilizes the egg, but the egg is inside the hydra, and then it just sits there, and then it emerges. Like, it's not laid, it emerges. Okay, so that's one. It's like ordinary sexual reproduction, but not because it's hermaphroditic and all this other, or maybe it is or maybe it isn't or whatever. And then it could do budding. And this is like how I remember planarias doing it. They could just split, okay? Budding. Budding occurs when conditions are favorable, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it just splits, okay? Hydras use this kind of reproduction more often because it's easier and will create more hydras than other methods. Actually, how do you... It seems weird that you could bud more than you could just do a bunch of little eggs, but okay. Third method of reproduction is if it gets damaged and cut into segments or chewed or whatever, you can get multiple little hydras. This happens in other animals such as starfish. Okay, so for me, it did not happen in other animals such as starfish. Starfish used to be, if you cut off a leg, it could regrow the leg. Yes, it could regrow the leg. But the leg would not regrow another starfish. And apparently now that's what happens. All right, so anyway, this thing is just weird. It's a weird little creature. I didn't actually catch on that it is now 30 millimeters. It's 3 centimeters. It's over an inch of creature. So that is also quite interesting. Much like the water bears, they're getting larger. They start out as a microscopic thing, And you're like, oh, well, who knows all the little microscopic things? And then pretty soon it's that big and creepy as hell. Super creepy. I don't know. That just doesn't even, it looks like some kind of child's drawing of a creature or something out of a cartoon. Yeah, we can get started about how the life cycles of the actual human and the fertilization and everything are rather different. At least they don't eat brain cells. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of kinds of these things. Hydra. Oh, and I almost forgot. They're supposedly possibly immortal, that they don't degenerate or get old. And then sometimes, oh, yes, they are. And then, well, no, we're not sure. But it looks like they are immortal or close to it or something like that. Maybe the timeline hasn't decided yet. Starfish are so creepy. There's so many creepy kinds, but I think I'm going to win. I'm going to give the Hydra the win on the creep. Now they say the egg chooses which sperm. Yes, I have covered that one, Shari. I agree with you. Yeah, no. Okay, so Hydra. So this was, Hydra was found by commenter Butthole Winker 34. So he has to have the memorable username. And he does find a number of ones. So good find on that weird little Hydra creature. Mr. Winker. I'm calling you that. Okay. One more little thing. You know, everybody's having sinus problems. I know I've covered sinuses before, but it looks like they're still kind of developing. And sometimes I do wonder if that's why everybody's got sinus problems right now, because we're still working on it. So last time I was kind of covering this, that I don't remember like this thing, but it really looks like they're bigger now. I don't remember them going that far back. I don't know, like half of our head is going to be empty inside now. The way they're drawing them is a little bit, so that used to be more up and down and less like way back into the head. So it looks like it's even expanded more. If you look at the images of the sinus cavities, I mean, it's, and then what's this? So we were talking before about they found the new sinus cavity, and it was at the back of the throat there. And a lot of people with the sinus infection are telling me that that's where they're getting the clogging. Well, we got sinus cavities, what, down the back of the throat and stuff? There weren't sinus cavities down back there. There was just like your throat. Are they counting your throat as the sinus? I just don't remember this thing. This curly thing. I don't know what's going on. There's more stuff. Okay, so now we have over here all of this. So your throat, this is your mouth, eustachian tubes up there. So it used to be, you know, your throat kind of started here. There wasn't like a huge stuff up here above the throat. Well, it looks like the sinus area is really expanded. It's all over here. Adenoid pad. Sphenoids. So now there's all these little additional sinuses. And look on the front view. I actually am just kind of seeing the side view, but here we go. The front view also is looking strange. We're seeing a lot of, now I do remember like a butterfly wings here, kind of butterfly wings here, although they're showing them like sacs now. So I'm wondering if these have expanded. But I don't remember this candelabra business. Now, there's two of them that would be, you know, like in your nose. Okay, that makes a certain sense. But I don't remember it curling around like this. I mean, this is kind of like when you see the outside of a dog nose, it curls around. I just remember there being a space. I don't remember the curl. Then we have another curl and another curl and another. It looks like a candelabra, and I don't remember any images of it looking like a candelabra. So that also, and some images show all these weird dots in here, and that's what kind of caught my attention was there's a lot going on with the sinus. I don't know what the storyline's going to work out to be with the sinus, but there's another image of it. I don't remember all that. And yeah, see, again, this looks like it's filled out more. Another candelabra looking thing. All right, this one is actually a rather showing the bone. This is interesting. So this shows the bone, then the candelabra pattern is in the bone. Then here's bone, here's bone. Wow, okay, I didn't realize that. So the candelabra is in the bone now. I thought it was just fleshy, you know, protrusions, but it looks like it's actually okay. It kind of makes sense, you know, with like animal skulls, you can see a complicated sinus and even like more and more bone, like thin bone up in there. And that does seem like it's increased a lot in recent years, they call it. But humans didn't have that for me, so I guess we do now. Yeah, this is it. So I'm not actually finding the images I saw even last week. This is about as close as I've seen. It's got 6 dots, 2 lines of 3, ethmoid sinuses, ethmoid. That one might be rather new. I don't think I remember that. I remember sphenoid, frontal, and maxillary, but I don't remember ethmoid. So, is that why everybody's got a giant effing sinus infection lately? I don't know. Oh my God, this one looks weird. Okay, so now we don't just have flaps, we have a candelabra pattern in here. Man, look at, is that, are they saying that's all sinus? I don't think so. I think that's supposed to be brain. So yeah, oh wow, look at this one. Look at all that going on. All right, so I don't know. Is that why everybody's got a sinus infection? It's giving me a sinus headache. Yep. I remember a couple years back, well, it was a little before no, it was probably more than a few years, maybe like 3-4 years. There was just one day when I just felt like there was space in there. It just like, I'm like, it almost like it opened up within the course of a few days. That it used to be that there was just more like blockage to travel, and then my head was like, those 2 venom-like organs in the back of our throats. All right, I'm not sure which ones you're referring to. Do we make venom now? That would be something. Do humans make venom? That would be pretty creepy. Stuff like this makes me extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, the body changes. George Carlin as a priest mentioned a new buddy Jesus in the movie Dogma. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I thought sinuses were like sacs. Well, they were used to be a lot smaller for me. Wasn't so big when I took my anatomy class 10 years ago. Yep. The new sinus explains the copious amounts of snot I get when I get sick. Yeah, there's a lot more room up there. I never had problems with my sinus, and then out of nowhere, about 3 weeks ago, I started having it. Yeah, Dave never had problems with his sinuses for most of the time I knew him. And then a couple years ago, oh, my allergies are acting up. That's what he said. I'm like, what allergies? It's like, yeah, I have allergies. I'm like, you've never had allergies? He says, no, I've always had allergies. I'm like, no, you didn't. Well, this version of him has always had allergies. So I assume the change started about a month ago. I don't know. Those have been like growing for a while for me, like just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So it's not the first time I've covered these. So I don't know if there's been a big shift for a bunch of people, and that's why it is like this latest jump. But I certainly wouldn't say that all. That's another thing you got to ask. So I see this on these diagrams. Does everybody have what's on this diagram? Maybe I don't have it yet, and next month I'll get it. I mean, the only way to know is if I went for an x-ray, right? Or cut in there, and I'm not really planning to do either. So, maybe I'm going to get the sinus infection next month. Maybe I'm not ready to do the jump yet. I don't know. Do we all do it at the same time? You don't know what's in your nose without, going in there and looking. I have to say, these observations allow me to evolve my thinking past evolutionary theory, unless you mean overnight designer touches. Yeah, the whole theory of evolution, I just pitched that one out the window. It sounded good until the Mandela, and now I'm like, nope. I actually believe that stuff magically happens. Yes, I know it sounds crazy. All right, so we got some new sinuses, apparently. All right, I have one more. I think I've covered this before, but I think it's gotten a lot bigger since then. Okay, everybody's gotten credit so far. The sinuses, I'll take credit for that one. And this one I also have had on before, and I saw it again. And I think this one has grown. So I will end on a positive note for once. Pulpi. So there's that, the giant crystals that are in Mexico. And that was the first one that showed. And little did I realize that was not the first round on the giant geodes and stuff. So now we have this one called Pulpi. Well, I've kind of had the giant crystals of Pulpi on before, but I don't remember them being as big. I really think that they have grown some. So I remember, like, you could kind of, like, maybe half the size of this. So, these are not the ones in Mexico, keep in mind. This is another giant crystal cave, and it's called Crystal Geode of Pulpi, Pulpi. And it's interesting, one of the things they're saying that these are crystal clear. I don't really remember that tidbit. So like especially this one, it wasn't that big. Like it could have been like this big that you could just barely sit in it, but it didn't have like all the rest. So yeah, no. And tourists can visit this now. It's not boiling hot like the one in Mexico. You don't have to have a special spacesuit on to not fry your brains out. So let's see. Here shows the approximate size. So I would say I remember it kind of being like maybe half this size. Dentro cabin unas 10 personas. Okay, so now that's interesting. It's basically saying inside. I'm not sure what cabin, but it's probably like has. Dentro, you could have like approximately 10 people. But this image does not show a space big enough for 10 people. It shows a space big enough for like 4 people. So again, this doesn't quite make sense. Okay, 8 meters long. And so that's like 24, 25 feet-ish. This is not at 25 feet. This looks like 10 feet here. So I like the explanatory image trying to show dimensions is completely inaccurate. I wonder if maybe this image was accurate at one time and everything else changed on it. Because that's pretty sloppy otherwise. All right, you can see all the people in there. Yeah, this thing's gotten a lot bigger. I think it will continue to do so. And they, oh, wait, the much forgotten secondary chamber is over here. And not many people knew about it and blah, blah, blah. All right, let me just go to the web. I don't recall like this tourism thing either. I'm not sure if I just forgot, but I just thought there was a weird geode. I don't remember there being a whole tourism thing. One of the largest crystal caves ever found. It is the largest, all right, the largest accessible geode in the world. I remember it being the largest geode in the world. Now it's the largest accessible geode. Now, granted, one would assume that somewhere on Earth there could be, a 500-foot long geode that's 20 miles under the Earth. So when they're saying accessible, I feel like they're slipping that in there, like there's going to be another geode that's not very accessible. Okay, just kind of a weird word, because obviously when they were saying it was the largest geode in the world, it went without saying that we've ever found. Okay, so adding that in, I feel like we might be getting more of these. The geological phenomena is located in Mina Rica, an abandoned silver mine near Pulpi on the northern Almeria coast. Discovered in 1999. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Well, not in my timeline it wasn't. Because that one in Mexico was it for a very long time until just recently. It opened to the public in 2019, so it's open to the public. Now, before there was all this yammer, like, oh, you would ruin the crystals and blah, blah, blah. The giant geode measures 8 meters long by 2 meters high, with huge translucent gypsum crystals up to 2 meters in length. The transparency, size, and state of preservation makes it unique. The Mina Rica has other interesting geological aspects besides the giant geode of Pulpi in the mineralogy. Foldings of curved rock, mylanites, fault surfaces formations such as speleotherms and epsomites and calcites, neoformation of minerals such as gypsum, beards. I've not heard of any of this yammer before. And mineralized reefs of siderites. And of course, no photos of those unless this is supposed to be it. So are we going to get some awesome possum other stuff in the area? It kind of sounds like it. Other geodes of various sizes can be seen in the mine. Oh ho ho. Such as Geoda partida and Geoda de Goyas de Golondrina. Now that's interesting. I don't remember there being another named Geoda partida. Let's check that one out. Yeah, this thing is definitely expanded since last I inspected it. Geoda partida. La Geoda de... Geoda de Pulpi. You know, it doesn't look like there's any photos of this. Let's see if there's any on here. It does mention partida. So it has this other awesome stuff that's not partida, I don't think. But no photos whatsoever of the other cool stuff. Maybe it's the Geoda de Goyas in Golondrina. Let's try that one and see if we get any. Pretty interesting that there is like 0 photos of these. This should be a specific enough term to have something. Those all look like the main geode there. All right, I'm going to try it on Google, but I don't hold up much hope. So what, like nobody took photos of any of the other cool stuff? It's open to the public. All right, what's this? No, I don't think so. Pulpi geode. Visit Pulpi geode. Geode de Pulpi. Oh, there doesn't seem to be any images in here of this thing. Images. That does not look like a geode. So either this other one looks... Oh, that one says it's Geoda de Pulpi again. Más grande del mundo. Más grande del... The biggest of the world. Accessible. Accessible. Let's see, what's this? This one looks a little different. Geoda. La mayor visitable Geoda del... Wait. Configurar. Refuse. Jeez, you're making me work for it here. Look at this. Oh my gosh. You know, so many websites just have a they're trying to wear me down, so I'll just say, okay, I'll take it. This is crazy. All right, I'm really upset now. Just shut up. All right, I give up. That one has kicked my butt. All right, I'll check the wiki, but I don't think there's any photos of the rest of this stuff. That's Pulpi again. All in Spanish. Oh, yeah, Naica is the one in Mexico. I forgot. Trust. Grande de Europa. It's the biggest of Europe. So they're saying the one in Naica, Mexico, is not actually a geode, and the one, this Pulpi, is actually a geode. So, like, it just like a geode. I guess I'm not sure what they're deciding, but usually a geode is kind of a singular opening that's kind of shaped like that, versus stuff growing, I guess, on caverns all over the place. So I guess it would have formed, all as one, versus just crystals everywhere. The formation, I would assume, was maybe supposed to be a little bit different in the shape. But, as far as coolness factor, there's not a huge difference. So they're saying the Geoda de Pulpi, the Geoda Pulpi, is a geode, and the ones in Mexico are just awesome crystals, but not a geode. You can go there for en valor una inversión de unos 500,000 euros. I think that's how much they put into it to make it public. Putting like ladders and safety stuff. And anyway, I have a suspicion we're going to see more awesome possum stuff for this geoda here. I want to see Geoda de Goyas de Golondrina and Geoda Partida, though. There's not one photo anywhere. The Sierra del Aguilón has been subject to mining exploitation throughout history. You got to have the guilt trip in every article. Contemporary mining began in 1840. "20 years after its discovery, the project to reopen the Mina Rica began." For me, this is new in recent years ever existing. To protect the crystals from deterioration, a special system devised by Almeria University monitors visitor numbers as well as controlling the temperature, humidity, and CO2 levels. Adults 22, I think those are pounds, which is pretty close to dollars. $10 children, 15 special rate for retirees, 225 pounds for groups of 15 people. So, not ridiculous. Where the heck is this place anyway? Okay, so it's Spain. Cool. So you guys over in Europe can go check it out, I guess. Wait, I want it. Why are both ways making it? There we go. Right there, coast of Spain. We're going to get more. I think that those other thingies are going to come in. Those ones I couldn't find. They're describing all this cool stuff, but not one photo. I think we're going to get that stuff. Birds aren't real. That thing is starting to freak me out. This birds aren't real business. It's gone so far that it's freaking me out. So for those of you who don't know, there's I'm not even sure where it started, frankly, but on Reddit, there is a subreddit called Birds Aren't Real. And it's like a LARP, like a live action role play. But basically, people go there and pretend that birds aren't real and make stupid jokes like the image of a bunch of birds sitting on a power line, and they'll say, "Oh, these drones are recharging." So the idea is that birds are not real animals; they are like government drone spy technology, and they don't really exist as creatures. But it's all corny, and it's one of the subreddits where there's never any arguments because everything we say is a joking lie. So you can't argue about something that we are not meaning to be truthful. There is no truth, right? So, 99% of the people who go there, and they amazingly, totally go along with it. And, you know, no matter how ridiculous it is, we'll go along with it. And saying ridiculous stuff like looking for, and there are actually bird government drones, so that now we have pictures of those that we can like mesh in. And then every now and then somebody comes in and goes, you guys aren't serious, and we're all like, yeah, we're serious. And every now and then I'm like, well, what if I'm the only one who thinks we're joking and all those people really are serious? Now I'm pretty sure that the most people are not serious, but it has gotten so popular now that there are people who have cars that are painted with signs that say birds aren't real, and people have been taking out billboards saying birds aren't real and it's not cheap. And there was a birds aren't real meeting where everybody was bringing signs going, tell the truth, birds aren't real. Of course it's all joking, but it was like a protest for the truth, right? I'm like, but this is like so ridiculous. Why is it going so far? I just feel like, I don't know, I'm missing something here. Like, this is doing a little bit too well for, you know, for a goofy joke. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but there's I feel like it means something. It's sort of like when Pokemon came out and everybody was running around chasing pretend animals on the real world, and I was like, there's something about Pokemon that seems special, like kind of in an energetic way, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Now looking back, I think it was part of the generation for more creatures, because a lot of those Pokemon creatures now have corollaries in real life that they didn't have when Pokemon first came out for me. So I got that same feeling about this birds aren't real thing. It is just getting too strong. It's too backed by the timeline. I don't get it. I don't know why, but there is something about it. And you know, maybe 10 years from now I'll look back and I'll get it, but I don't get it right now. But just watch this space on this birds aren't real business. I thought the Mexican gypsum crystals formed out of solution, not by cooling from a melted state. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, see, that was the story for the Mexican Naica ones. But suddenly now you don't have that story. Or I think that they probably will say it did form out of solution like 10 million years ago or something. They might be saying that. But it's interesting that they are much more accessible, this new one. I should probably peek in on that Naica stuff and see what's up with that. Do you still have to wear like space suits and everything? How would that, okay, what is a geode versus, I was kind of looking at it, but you know, it's really not, if you have a little geode and you can crack it open, it's really not that different. It's just like way bigger is the thing. Blah, blah, greedy humans exploited everything, ruined it, blah, blah. Sorry, I didn't know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just, can we just have like one article where humans aren't horrible and ruining the whole world? It's just really starting to get old. I don't know if we just loved our guilt trips or what, but you know, especially with the Mandela and everything and stuff magically showing up for the first time ever, but yet there's a story like how we ruined it. I'm like, it didn't even exist before. How did we ruin it? These animals never existed before, but the story is that we killed 10 billion of them 100 years ago. I'm like, they weren't here. I'm not listening to these guilt trip stories anymore. Okay, I am not sure, Philofire 3, or Philofire, what you mean by that. You've lost me. Oliver Henry's in. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let me just look up this Naica crystals thing and see what the story is, because I haven't looked at that in a long time, and guess what? I have a half hour before I have to go. Do think they're a little bit larger than before. Open image in new tab. Interesting. Okay. Not sure, but they do look a little larger than I recall. The quality of those photos are definitely better. Naica. Let's see what we got here on the web. Visiting tour by Mexico. You can tour them now? Wait a minute here now. Wait a minute. You can visit them now. How long has that been the case? So it used to be you had to do that suit and it was like, oh, we can't let too many people in there because the environment will be damaged. The cave is located in the town of Naica, 4-hour drive from the city of Chihuahua. There are only a few tours available each day. The tour lasts for about an hour and a half. Visitors are required to wear hard hats and safety goggles. This is bull. No. Okay, I'm glad I checked this out. Okay. When this thing came out, I'm a rock hound. I love rocks. This was effing amazing. I even used this as my avatar images of this thing. Okay, the story was very, very clearly that it was so hot in there that you had to wear a suit with ice packs in them. And you could only stay in there about 15 minutes, even including that suit with ice packs, because you would overheat and die if you didn't. And they would time it, and everybody was going in there with the space suits because it was. There is no way that you could just go in there with hard hats and safety goggles. That's bull. The temperature is extremely hot. So dress appropriately. Yes, it was a spacesuit with special ice packs. This is total crap. Okay, this is totally effing changed. This is baloney. Everybody was lamenting, I could only stay in there for 15 minutes and it's dangerous to explore because if you could overheat and die. The largest were 11 meters long, so that's what, 33, 35 feet-ish? It's long. Wow, that is longer. I think they have also gotten larger, and it's not as hot as it was. Because the heat index is 58 degrees Celsius. How hot is that? 58 degrees Celsius. To Fahrenheit. Okay, so now you can only stay in there 10 minutes without your special spacesuit, and you just needed, I don't know, dress appropriately, wear shorts and a t-shirt. This is crazy. Why am I not getting it here? What did it say? 58 degrees? Yes. 58. 136 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, that is fairly hot. But, I mean, if you, wet yourself down, you can, yeah, okay. But apparently now you can do 10 minutes without any special nothings. Exposing yourself more than 10 minutes is potentially hazardous. A few years ago, Discovery Channel aired a fantastic documentary. Yes. The Naica project was created in 2006. Okay, it is a pretty old one for me. known as Kiva de los Cristales, as the local cave. The Crystal Cave. Crystals, also known as Cuque de los Cristales, are a dream come true for geologists. Other caves with small structures did not have the same conditions. A large crystal roof can be found in the Mexico's Naica cave. What the hell is this, like the world's worst translation or something? A large crystal roof which is 800 meters in altitude and is nothing like a foreign cathedral. Wait. So there's one that's 800 meters in altitude? There was nothing like that. Can you tour the Cave of Crystals? All right, this is like the world's worst article. The tragedy of the giant crystals. The cave is closed to the public due to damage caused by the KNP complex fire in September 2021. The fire caused extensive damage to the cave and trail, as well as the fragile formations. The cave will be open again as soon as repairs are completed. But visitors are encouraged to visit other spectacular Mexican caves. All right, so that was a while ago. It might be open again by now. Crystal Cave Mexican tour. So look at this. There's some dude in like short sleeves and stuff. You never saw that before. They used to wear all that orange stuff because it was their outfits. They're like their ice packs and stuff. You spend a half hour traveling to the cave, walking to the entrance, and taking a 50-minute tour. All right. I probably should go to the video eventually. Yeah, look at this. Is that the Crystal Caves or is that the Pulpi one? So what? She's not even sweating and she's just got regular old clothes. I mean, why is everybody in all the old photos wearing orange outfits and stuff then? You don't need it. What's up with all that? Any old schmeck can just flop around in their flip-flops, apparently. Okay. So now we've got a bunch of caves. Main caves. So here's a map. Let's see if I can open this. It definitely looks like we've had some expansion on this stuff. So there's the Naica mine, and that's Cueva de Tiburon. Cueva. I think that's cave Cueva. I'm guessing my Spanish is pretty shoddy. Cueva de Tiburon. Tiburon, I think, is sharks. Well, it makes sense, shark teeth. Cave of Sharks down here. Then the Cueva de los Cristales, Crystal Cave. I think that's the big ones. All right, so there's Ojo de la Reina, Eye of the Queen, I think that is. There's a whole nother one then. Cueva de las Velas. I'm not sure what the Velas is down here. So there's a bunch of stuff in here now. Nice. We don't want to go there yet because we want to have more crystals grow magically so I can see it. This is crazy. All right, that's a little more like I remember. Researchers Says the caves heat everything instantly fogs up, including your glasses and your camera. All right, so cool. Naica. It's not that far. I could probably get there. Now that you can tour this, see, before it's like, no, you have to have specialized equipment and you'll damage the crystals, and only special researchers are allowed in, and you can only stay in there for 10 minutes. And the Naica Crystal Cave, only ever accessible from a mine in Chihuahua, but now completely submerged underwater. What in the hell? That was in 20. So what? It's re-submerged underwater now? Man, there's like 16 stories on this business. The little known Naica Crystal Cave in Mexico. All right, when is this from? Might be the most beautiful cave in the world. Blah. Discovered in 1910. No. It was not discovered in 1910. That is total baloney. That was discovered in my lifetime and after I moved to my current San Diego location. So it has to be 90s or later. There's no way. Ooh, this is an interesting photo here. Ugh, all right. No. Except, all right. Oh, this is neat. I've never seen this. So we've got like mini crystals wall over here. The many swords in Naica Crystal Cave. The many swords, crystals. The first cave was discovered 120 meters underground and has a diameter of 80 meters. So it's a diameter of 80 meters. So, you know, like 250 feet-ish. Selenite crystals up to 2 meters long. This cave was mined aggressively, and there's nothing left of the crystals. When the new cave was discovered, it is much larger, and it was a whole... Okay, so now we have the story that they ruined that one. Got to have some guilt in there. I don't think that was the case before. It was like they were mining, and then they found a nice crystal cave, and they decided not to mine it. That was the old story. But now, those meanies ruined one of them. Got to have a meanie story, those evil humans. Much larger than the first cave. The other story also was that because it was underwater and stuff, they just kind of left it. That was the other reason. All right, so there's this one. All right, this story is still now without the special protection. So there's no need to worry about it being overrun by tourists. Okay, what is it then? Is it need special protection or not? So we've seen images of like these guys in the special suits, all suited up like they need to be in a space suit. But then there was a cameraman there in ordinary clothes with nothing special on. So the whole thing is a little wonky now. He thinks the cave should be much better protected. It is trying to convince the Mexican government to have the caves placed on UNESCO's World Heritage Site. All right, so can you get there? Like crystal. There's like 3 timelines of stories all conflicting on this Naica. Whoops, Naica. There, I spell it right. From everywhere that you need the spacesuit and or you'll die to 15 minutes in your flip-flops and shorts is fine. right, TripAdvisor. Hopefully that will have the accurate info. I'm going to Mexico. I heard it may be possible to visit some of the Naica mines. I know the main crystal cave is probably too dangerous, but it is possible to enter the others. All right, these guys are saying investigation only, which is not what I did try to go. However, if you find this is not, they're saying that's 8 years ago, not open to the public. So, seems like they were open since then, though. Interesting. It's really not clear at this point. So, the storyline now is apparently it was open, but then there was a fire, and then it wasn't, and then it's very fishy, because I don't think it was open in the old timeline. Now it has been, but it's not because of a fire, so you still can't go. Very conveniently. So it's like we've moved into the timeline when it's not as hot and you could go, but we have to have an excuse that you can't go, so the fire works for that. Why goggles? Yeah, actually. None of that really makes any sense now. Why were they doing all that and they have all the orange spacesuits and then the camera standing there in his normal clothes? It's like, well, what? They said it was really hot. I don't know. They didn't say much about volcanic. Is anybody having weird dreams every night? I had some weird dreams. I've always had weird dreams. It's a matter of whether I remember them or not. I think they are weirder, though, because I used to have more dreams that were just sort of common, like I'm late for class and I can't find my locker and I didn't study for the test, those kind. I'm just having more that just like don't make any sense. Like they don't even have anything to do with reality. Like I don't even know how to say it. Just like there's a thing like a door, but it's to something that I can't even explain, and I have to fix it, but it's too green, and it's wiggly, and someone's mad, and like it's just like I can't even hardly understand it when it's happening. Not to mention it having anything to do with real life that's obvious, So I've been having a lot more dreams like that. Oh, look, there's some sparkly green things and they have points, and the points are something, and that kind of dreams. I heard some people say melatonin gave them weird dreams. The whole subject of melatonin is interesting. So for a long time they'd say, well, melatonin is something that the body, like I think they say it's the pineal gland now, but it used to just be the body. Now it's pineal gland releases at night to help move you into sleep cycle. And if you take some melatonin at night, it could help you sleep. Well, I tried it. I never really noticed anything, but it would have to be subtle. Anyway, it's been eons since I've tried it, though. So, I mean, that was like a whole different human body style that I had 20 years ago or something. So who knows? Maybe it would work now. I don't know. The other thing is, they hold the whole story now where you need the daylight in order to make the intracellular melatonin, which is a very powerful antioxidant that your cells may require to keep oxidation under control in the respiration cycle in the mitochondria. And I apologize if that sounds all like Greek. But basically, let's just say some daylight is important. Even if you're in the shade, you need that that red light therapy kind of deal. And that's intracellular melatonin, that's an antioxidant. So the story now seems to be that during the day, you would go out in the sun and get intracellular melatonin that is created by the red light from the sun. And then at night, when the sun is down, the pineal gland would release extracellular melatonin, which is also antioxidant that might help you kind of deoxidate yourself during the nighttime when there's no sun out. Actually makes it sound pretty bad when we don't go out in the sun hardly all day. But anyway, that's kind of the story. So this melatonin thing story has definitely developed a lot in the recent months. Golden Globes on a gray carpet instead of a red. They're always been on red. It's a fashion thing. They look like crap on gray carpet. Huh, I don't watch those anymore. Maybe they've always been on the gray carpet and the red carpet's just a saying, but has no basis in reality. You got to check it out. I think dreams mean a lot more. Separate realities might explain why we're exhausted. Yeah, I've actually definitely improved as far as waking up less tired. I don't quite feel as rested as days of old, but it has definitely improved it. I don't know if it does seem like the vitamin B1 helped a lot. Daily sunshine. I'm going out every day, first thing in the morning to get some of that red light. A couple things like that do seem to be helping. Get that red light. I really am wondering if we're kind of turning into like more like kind of like plants. You know, we're getting more and more stuff from the sun. We get the vitamin D, now we're getting this melatonin. We're like soaking up all these different rays now. It might be that we got to lay out there and get fed by the sun. I think I covered a while ago that there's some indication that there might be some small amount of sort of photosynthetic ability inside the cells. I have a very strong feeling that story is going to grow, where we're going to need less food and we're going to be more like sunlight creatures. It was all over YouTube today, this gray carpet thing. All right, Golden Globes, gray carpet. I got a couple minutes, so I'll just run it by. Golden Globes. Why would they do that? Gray carpet. Did they just couldn't source the red carpet or what? Because who would pick gray? I don't know. Golden Globes organized, laid out the gray carpet. Instead of traditional red, organizers chose gray for this year's edition. I was going to say something about the intelligence of this, but I will let it go. Yeah, it looks scungy, doesn't it? It's not just gray. You know, it looks like some kind of scungy office carpet. The carpet is a beautiful gray color that goes with the new palette for the year, which is blush tones and coral. All right, so the palette for the year is blush tones and coral, so we picked gray. Does that make any sense? I don't think that gray goes with blush tones and coral. I actually think red goes with blush tones and coral really well, and gray looks like crap with blush tones and coral. So that whole story makes no sense at all. She added organizers plan to install beautiful arches, but the weather played spoils sport. Forecasts of rain and inclement weather forced Golden Globe organizers to ditch their plans of installing archways, and the decision was taken to put a tent over the carpet so guests could enter the venue safely. You know, this is just sounds stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Gray does not. I would only say that in some regards, gray sort of goes with everything, but probably one of the least good looking things that would go with would be blush tones and coral. Gray with coral? No, no. Only that gray doesn't look super hideous with anything, but that would be one of the worst colors. And none of this timeline makes any sense anyways. Why do I expect the Golden Globes to make any sense? Dethroning of the stars. Yeah. They're Did any big shift happen during Christmas? I think a lot of people had a lot of personal Mandelas. Infrared lamp, great, is nice, great for cramps and aches. Also, probably a good idea to do that first thing in the morning because there's a lot of indication that the infrared helps set the day-night cycle. So do it in the morning and help set the day-night cycle would probably a good idea. Gray aliens, yeah. When do we get our aliens? Nothing weird has happened in like 5 minutes, so we should probably have the aliens soon. Huge shift around. I think there's usually a shift around Christmas, New Year's. Maybe not as big this time as there has been, but everybody's sick. It just seems really strange. Seems to me that it's harder for people to work longer now. I can't get my brain to work longer. All right, well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so it's time for me to go. I've been doing better with my brain than I was like a couple years ago. But it's definitely not what it was in days of old. I hope to get back there, but I think most news about gray aliens is not airing because you would require a lot of money invested in special effects. I don't know. There is no limit to what weird could happen. I'm not going to put off anything. If Arctic could disappear, the moon can change its entire orbit and appearance. South America can cruise eastward hundreds and hundreds of miles, and crystals can magically appear and all this crap. Then, gray aliens, that's kind of like not that weird anymore. Not that weird anymore. All right, well, you know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.